When did it become normal that your boss would expect an email reply from you on a Sunday night? When did we decide that work would leak into our vacations, our weekends, and our nights? Somehow we've all been collectively tricked into working constantly and giving up on how we really want to spend our time. None of us wanted this, none of us asked for this. Our freedom is continuously being traded for productivity. When did work become our entire lives, and how can we take our time back? In the book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie, he talks about a concept called living your life in day-tight compartments. And he offers this as a solution to the constant craziness of worrying about the future and worrying about how to get where you're going. And instead of worrying so far out, his solution, what he offers, is to do your best today and live in a day-tight compartment where you're only worrying about doing your best today. And by doing your best today, those todays add up into a longer term period. And I think we can take the same concept one step deeper and apply it to how to get our time back and stop worrying and start living today. And so rather than just think about what you're doing today, think about what you're doing right now. And be working when you're working, be focused on that. And when you're not working and you're enjoying something and you're doing something that you want to be doing that. Don't be worrying about the work when you're not working, and don't be wishing you weren't working when you are working. So this is all going to be about that concept. How do we get our time back to where we're in control, to where we're getting things done, but we feel the freedom, we feel the space to enjoy, we feel the freedom to create our lives in the way that we really dream of them being. A big reason that this has gotten so disastrous and work has just become everything is technology. And it's easy to demonize these things, but obviously great things have come out of it too. And we can use these things to our advantage if we choose to. But if we don't, we'll just get sucked into the rabbit hole and start looking at Instagram for 3 hours before we realized what happened. So now that anyone can just bombard you at any time, you have to protect your time more than ever. And the first way to do this is to control your email. All you have to do here is realize that email is almost never life or death. It's almost never urgent. It almost never really is that big of a deal. And by the way, these concepts apply whether you're working a job for someone else or you're an entrepreneur already and you're on your own, because somehow this has infiltrated both sides. And whether you have a job, you're expected to be on call and in contact 24/7, or even if you're on your own, we feel that pressure to always be tuned in and always be working too. So as far as email goes, these specific tips mostly are inspired by Tim Ferriss, who has talked a lot about getting your time back from email. And now the sort of updated new age version is also going to apply to any of the social platforms. And the biggest tip with email is to batch your emails, to batch the time that you're looking at it. So rather than just be constantly checking your email every 5 minutes, trying to respond to everything that comes in, just try to set aside 30 minutes a day for your email, and that's when you check it. And if you don't see an email right when it comes in, it's probably not the end of the world. And I get it, there's probably some jobs where you literally have to be doing this, and this is just the way that your job is structured, but there are going to be elements of these things that you can still apply even in constricted, controlled situations. So most emails don't need to be responded to right away. And pro tip, most emails don't need to be responded to at all. So it's easy to feel like in this world where anytime you get a piece of contact from the outside that you have to eat it up and you have to get consumed by it. And you just simply don't have to. It's mostly crap. It's mostly just sucking your time and making your life end quicker. I take this one pretty far, and one of the biggest things that I've personally done over the past few years that has kept me somewhat relatively sane is I have my phone notifications completely off. Almost everything is off and nothing vibrates and nothing makes noise ever. That's the way that I set my phone. So I'll only see something if I pick up my phone and I'm looking for it. And guess what? Almost never have I waited 20 minutes and then wished that I had been sacrificing the present for that one email that came in or that one text or that one Instagram post. It just rarely happens. I also avoid phone calls specifically whenever humanly possible. If you get a phone call from a number that you don't recognize, don't pick it up ever unless you're expecting some specific emergency. It is 99% chance just spam or crap that is just pulling you out of the moment and pulling you out of your focused work or your relaxed enjoyment time. And even with people that I do know or I work with or I like these people, I make everyone realize slowly over time that calling is not the way to reach me. The reason for that is calls pull you out of the moment more than any of the other things, because email or a text, you can see it when you see it, you can deal with it when you deal with it. People are relatively accustomed to not expecting immediate replies, or it's easier to condition your surroundings to accept that. But calls are just like somebody just barging in the room. It's crazy. So calls ruin everything. Now I get it, calls can be effective and efficient. So if you want to schedule calls, that's fine, but don't allow calls to come in. It is going to mess up your time immensely. Shifting gears a little bit, still very related to that last point, is a concept that I'm going to call opportunity is the enemy. And I'm playing a little bit off of Ryan Holiday's great book, Ego is the Enemy. I'm saying opportunity is the enemy. And this concept I could go on for hours, and maybe I will another time, but what I want to get to here is the fact that you shouldn't be just chasing absolutely everything you possibly can. You shouldn't be trying to grow for the sake of growth. You shouldn't be trying to make the most money just to have the biggest numbers to impress people. Rather than just trying to grow for the sake of growing and taking opportunities for the sake of them being opportunities, you should be selecting what you want that actually maps to the lifestyle you want. And that lifestyle might include having free time. If you're anything like me, it is a more free and open lifestyle that I'm describing. So whether these opportunities come in through emails, calls, or any of these other forms of bombardment, a lot of the time I either ignore them or just say no. And this is, some of you may see this as a huge fault of mine. It could seem rude to some people, but it is just me protecting my time. And I get offers from companies that want to work with me or something pretty much every day. And I'm sure a lot of them are great. I'm sure a lot of them I could make money, and I'm sure there's nothing wrong with a lot of them. But what's wrong with it is that it takes my attention and I just don't need it. And so don't fall for the trap of opportunity. Just because something is an opportunity doesn't mean you have to do it if it doesn't go in line with what you actually want. This is kind of an 80-20 Pareto principle type of thing. If you haven't heard of that, that means what is the 20% of whatever it is that I'm doing that is making up 80% of the results? And this could apply to money, this could apply to your enjoyment of the thing. It doesn't just have to be straight up ROI. But if you just say yes to every opportunity, you're probably saying yes to a lot of 20/80s, which is something that's going to take up 80% of your time for 20% of the results. And it's just not an opportunity that you should take, even though it does have potential. So remind yourself, why are you working anyways? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? What is the lifestyle that you want? And to get there, you're probably going to have to start saying no to a lot of things rather than just yes to everything that comes your way. This also includes random meetings that have no purpose. This includes coffee meetups, lunch meetups that are just to pick your brain or just to catch up. These things are time sucks, and a lot of people work 8 hours a day, but they get done about 5 minutes of actual progression in what they're trying to do. So another area that is helping me reclaim my time is something that I dramatically shifted my views on. So when I got into entrepreneurship, a huge lure to it was the fact that there's no difference from a Tuesday or a Saturday, meaning every day is the same. And every day you can do whatever you want. You can get some work done, you could chill today or whatever. And that's great, and I still like that, and I still do live like that a lot of the time. But from my experience, after a few years, it gets rough. And even for entrepreneurs or people that are doing their own thing, it's really easy to end up spending all your time on something to where you're just thinking about it constantly as you're in bed on the weekends. And this is not a way to live. So something that has helped a lot with this, and is something that I hate and am not good at, is to actually have a set schedule to some extent, or to time block things, or to say take back weekends. So a big thing that I have done, well, two things really, is One is I used to, like I said, Tuesday or Saturday, it didn't matter, it was the same. Now over the past year or so, I have almost not worked at all on any Saturday or Sunday ever. And I've also almost entirely stopped doing anything after dinner time or so. I just won't go back. I'll just be free for the rest of the day after then. And this is what I always dreaded. It's basically a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of thing, but maybe it kind of works for a reason. And I think that's just because without boundaries, without these hard stop times where you know you're done, it's easy to just fill up that time. And then it goes the other way too, is that when you're supposed to be working, you might not really be working. So it's much better to just say block off a couple hours a day for deep focused work and then be done. Another major hack here to get back your time is to hire VAs or virtual assistants. So a virtual assistant is basically an employee, somebody that can help you out remotely, and this can often be much cheaper than you might think because it could be based anywhere in the world for things that are not, dependent on your physical local geography, which a lot of tasks are things that can be done from anywhere. And so for me in my business, a lot of things are done that way. For example, this video is being edited by my editor, Francis, in the Philippines. So I'm just filming this stuff, uploading it, and then he is putting that together, and then I'm going to upload it. And this is useful in obviously so many areas of business, but it's also possible to use VAs just in your regular life. Say, Tim Ferriss has talked about using VAs to schedule appointments or things like that, things that that can be done from anywhere that are just kind of mundane tasks that you don't want to deal with, and it can free up more time for you to make more money in other places. Or maybe it's just an expense, maybe it's just a luxury to buy back your time. I think the most important thing here is that life is not about work, and I don't know where we all went wrong. I don't know how we all just got so sucked into this, and this society is just created this world where it is just about producing and work constantly, and we've given up on our hobbies, we've given up on our passions, we've given up on just human connection and enjoyment of the present moment. So as you're moving in the direction of freeing up your time, realize that rarely are any of these interruptions truly urgent or truly needing your attention right now, and most of them maybe never. And if they are urgent, that's okay. This is not a perfect system, but it is an 80-20. And if this helps you gain back even just the 20% of more time and more freedom in your life, then that is a massive impact on your overall well-being. And as you apply these sort of hacks and you try to optimize your life and gain back your time, you have to fill that time. So get back to your passions, get back to those things that excited you as a kid, get back to just living the way you would live if you could do anything, because I think that's what this is really all about. And that's what making money is all about. That's why we're doing this. We're not doing this just so we can work even more and build up a bigger building and all of this stuff. We're doing this so we can create the freedom that we want. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and potentially pushing this video out in front of more people. Leave a comment, that helps too, and I also read 100% of them and reply to 99.9% of them. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post more. Check out the prior videos as well, and hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.